I'm back with another Alex video on how he conquered kind of the gym industry and how saturated it was. Let's see what we can learn from it, but also where he's wrong and right.
To tell you a story about how I solved churn for the entire gym industry, and I think there are a lot of things you can take from this, both in the actual outcome itself, but also the process that was used to achieve it. One of the things, so I'm going to rewind the time clock here. So for those of you who don't know me,
Dang it. Let's skip to it.
I had a chain of gyms in California. So I'm going to rewind.
I kind of hate that. Like just the black, but obviously back in, when was this made? 4 years ago, that was kind of the intros you did. Still, I would just
So for this,
expect a better brand intro from him. But hey.
as you don't know me, I had a chain of gyms in California. I founded in 2013. I had 6 gyms by 2016 that I grew just using cash flow from the growth of the facilities. And so I was very good at the marketing and selling process of getting people in the gyms and opening them at full capacity, which was kind of my claim to fame. Over time, I then pivoted to licensing that acquisition system to other gym owners across the U.S., right? So that was kind of the path, and then gym owners kind of took off from there. There was a 2-year stint in between there where I did turnarounds, and I'd fill other people's gyms up for a percentage of the revenue that I was bringing in, right? So that was kind of, that's the long story short. Now, fast forward, and now we've got thousands of gyms, right? This is still a few years ago, but fast forward in the story. It's got a few thousand gyms at this time. One of the issues is that all these guys are bringing in people in the door, but they can't retain them for a long time, so they can convert them into members because we had a process around that, which again was sales, but they couldn't keep them for a long time, right? And this was...
To speak on that, again, I think I'll say it, but some of the reasons why people leave is the lack of community, which most, I don't want to say that. Some gyms have a lot of, some gyms have none of. So having that good community will help people want to stay. Actually caring about the person as well. It's like getting them in the community and caring about them, showing that you want them to improve, but also that they are seen and known. And then I think on top of that is just more in the sense of like more trust with them, building that trust to know that you're not just, again, there for their money, but you want them to be improved by them coming there.
And this wasn't because of the acquisition system. They just couldn't keep any of their customers for a long time. And so what's interesting about this is that this is for any type of service-based business that has any kind of recurring, revenue model whatsoever. And so here's what I did to solve a problem that I did not know the answer to. All right, so this is the takeaway that you can take from this. So what I did was I said, hey guys, has anyone in this huge community achieved 3% monthly churn or less for 6 straight months? All right, so 3% monthly churn, if you do the math on it, let's actually look together, shall we? So if we want to see how much, what percentage of your customers are staying, and if you have, let's say, 3% monthly churn, so that's 0.97, right? And let's say that this is for 12 months. All right, so we're going to go x to the y for 12 months.
I wish I would have just gotten shown the number.
That means that I'm going to keep 69% of my customers. I'm going to lose 31.
But I think that's just because of my, the attention span of nowadays of just show me the number, go on.
Percent of my customers year over year if I have 3% monthly churn. That's still a decent amount of customers that we're losing. Crazy. Right? Just being real with you.
Numbers.
Now, 3% is like the top 1% of gyms. I'll be real with you. Like most gyms do not do that. The industry average is about 9%. Now, if you want us to have something that freaks you out, let's just do this one together. So 9% means we're retaining 91% per month. Now we're going to do our little twistiness so that we can do our fancy math. We go x to the y and we'll do 12 months again, right? Right. Look at the difference there.
If you're running your own business,
2%
and it's
of your clients are still there,
amount.
meaning you lose 68% of your recurring clients
3 to 9.
if your monthly churn is 9%.
That's kind of insane.
This is why people don't want to buy these types of businesses. This is what makes your business unsellable. And so I had this problem, right? I was like, all these gyms are acquiring customers, and their industry average is that they're going to lose 3/4, of their customers by the end of the year, right? Right. This is a problem because I'm going to have to keep showing them all these new tips and tricks to get new people in, because literally by the end of the year they're going to have already turned over 3/4 of the customers, right? This is a problem. So
that's where you can look at it from, as he said, of do you focus on keeping new ones or keeping old ones or bringing new ones in. Both are very expensive to do. Most people don't want to do the new ones because it is normally more expensive to go get new members. So obviously, as he's talking, your goal is to get to that 3%. So way you're getting new customers, but you're also retaining a good majority of your old customers. And again, one of the biggest ways to do both of those is trust. To continue to have trust and build trust between the gym, so the owners of the gym, the managers, the trainers, and the members.
That's what I did. I put a poll in the group and I said, hey, if you've had less than 3% monthly churn for 6 straight months, I'd like to invite you to a roundtable. So 20 people out of the 1,000 or so that were in the community at the time, 20. All right, it's a very small percentage. Said, hey, I meet this qualification. So I said, okay, so if you think about this math-wise, right, I've already got the top 1%. I guess this is the top 2%, but top 2% of the entire gym world. And so I had them all together on a call, and I said, I need you to tell me every single thing that you do to provide excellent value or a customer surplus to your members, right? And so I went person by person by person. And I would sit there and I was like, and then what do you do? And then how does that work? And then why do you do that? And X, Y, Z, right? And I wrote down every single thing that every one of them had. And so by the end of this, I had like 4 pages of notes, right? So this is what I did next. So that, we ended the call. And so I looked through all the notes, and then I recategorized them because a lot of them were repetitive. Some of them were, different, one-off weird things. And so I said, okay, it's clear that all of them do lots of things. And the first one being they actually track it and focus on the metric, which 95% of people don't even do. Which is
again, with trust is showing that you're actually caring. And this is obviously you're caring about a metric, but it goes more than that, because to care about the metric, you also have to then care about the people. Because from caring about the metric, you're going to care about the people, so that way they stay. So therefore, again, you're building trust. Trust.
Why most people are poor. Number one. Second thing that all of them did is that they had lots of different strategies to combat churn, because they know that, and you guys want to know something crazy? Of course you do. We're watching the world's coolest YouTuber, all right? So if you, let's say you have a service that's $100 a month, okay? $100 a month. And let's say that your churn is 3%, right? Because that was the goal of these people, right? So 3% churn, all right? And so what I did was I did 100 divided by 3%.
Yep.
That's $3,300 of LTV, right? Lifetime value, right? Lifetime amount of revenue that they're going to be able to collect over this customer. If they pay $100 a month, you're going to get 33 months out of this person, because it's 100 divided by 0.03.
That's a lot.
Watch this. Same $100 price point. Remember I said the industry average is 9?
It's going to be
divided by
cutting
0.09.
a third. Yeah.
11. All right?
Well, most people can do that math. 3 to 9, a third. But again, that's still these numbers are insane. And now I do see why gyms that are opening are more Planet Fitness-y, because they don't give a crap about churn, because everything there is Planet Fitness, so they're not caring about churn as much as the private studios are, as the PT gyms.
$1,100. is what the LTV of those gyms are. So the people who had conquered their churn made 3 times more revenue per customer than everyone else. But here's what's even crazier about that. If you make 3 times more revenue per customer, think about how much more profit you're making.
Yep.
A lot.
But also, how much more you could then put into getting new leads.
More. All right, and this is why this was such an important thing. So, a lot of them were doing lots of things. I consolidated all of the things into buckets. And then I said, what are the things that every single one of them is doing? And you can think about this like a voting system. If all of them are doing one thing, then that's probably an important thing. If I've got 20 guys and there's something that only one of them is doing, it's probably not important because the other 19 are accomplishing the objective without doing it. And so the goal is how few of these things are the things that are actually driving the outcome, okay? And so what I ended up figuring out after doing this entire process is that there were 5 things that they were all doing to maintaining their members.
Let's hear these.
You can either say, oh, okay, Alex, well, the next 5 things that he's going to share are probably only for gyms. Yeah, because humans are totally different in your business. But anyways, so let's rock and roll. First thing that they were all doing, all of them, is that if someone missed and they're not showing up at the gym by Wednesday of that week, so they missed Monday, missed Tuesday, they escalated them, and all of them had different processes around this. Some of them did it by Friday, some of them did it by Tuesday, but the end point was if someone was not consuming the service, they immediately escalated it and would repeatedly try and contact them to get them scheduled.
Again, showing you care. Like, hey, I want to not just get you in our doors so that way we can continue to make more money, but also to improve your life, which again shows you care, and then therefore building trust in the consumer, therefore again wanting them to come back, because trust is one of the most important things to build.
For time to come in, which means they had accountability around consumption. Number 1. Number 2, the vast majority of them had exit interviews, meaning if someone wanted to leave, they would have to come in and talk to somebody. And there's 2 benefits to this. One is you get to identify the things that are wrong with your business because these people will tell you why they are leaving. This gives you the opportunity to fix things that are not good, which is great, which is incredibly valuable data, right? Number 1. Number 2 is a lot of times people just need to vent, and the thing that they're venting about, it sounds like pain, means it can be solved, which means a lot of times.
Also, I want to say on this, most people are scared of interviews, which obviously makes what I do with proof specialists and kind of that more interview style of video, the testimonies, is a little hard, but I make it as comfortable as possible. I make it as easy as possible. I make sure you look as good as possible, no matter what, because that's all important. Because most people don't like to go to an interview. They feel it's awkward, weird. Like there's even gym videos, like videos on gyms' Instagrams about exit interviews and how bad they are and like things like that. I think they're great though.
Over half of those people get resold into a higher level package. It's like no one ever contacted me. It's like, well, you're not in the contact me plan. You're in the do it yourself plan. You should get into the coaching level where we actually hold you accountable. Oh, I didn't know you guys had that. Yeah, we just didn't know that you needed that. And that's our fault. We should have asked you better questions on the front end. Right, cool. And then all of a sudden, this person goes from being a loss and a cancel to being an ascension. So number 1, they make sure people are consuming. Number 2, they save exit interviews so they can collect data and ascend existing customers. Number 3, they all did member events. All right, so they had some sort of community component.
Caring about the community, making sure they feel like they belong, and they can trust others and can grow in that space.
The extent to which they had it was different. The cadence was different. But I'll tell you right now that if you do it on a quarterly basis, that usually works, in terms of bringing the community together, you're usually in good hands. Number 4 is that they had handwritten cards that they would send out on a regular basis to
showing that you care, building that trust, not just, oh, you're someone who's paying me, I want your money, but no, I want to impact and change your life. Again, going back to the trust, going back to needing trust to make sales, to continue sales, to keep members around. Trust is so important, especially in this day and age where AI is everywhere, where I can take 2 seconds and probably make this exact video of Alex with an AI, make him say something similar, but who's gonna know? Obviously. But like, that's the thing with AI the way it is, man, trust is so important. And that's what this community does is help build trust, but also a sense of belonging, which is important.
Each of the people in their community. And some of them would send it out with gift cards to bring friends, which is a great way to generate referrals as well. Some of them would just have it as appreciation. Some of them would give them some sort of kudos or whatever. And here's the key point about how these cards had to be written. They had to be personalized. All right, so it can't just be, hey, thanks for being a member, love you lots, send. Doesn't work. It has to be, hey, Charlotte, you've really been advancing on your pull-ups, and if you're like, well, this only works for gyms, I'm not even going to comment on that. Use your brain. Can you personalize something to any kind of improvement that someone has had in your business? Probably, hopefully. But it's like, hey, Charlotte, you made a lot of progress on your pull-ups. When you got here, you had to use the big, thick black band, and now you're using the yellow band, which is, twice as hard in terms of the resistance level for you. Keep it up. You're doing a great job, and you're already down 10 pounds. So they're also reminding them of the victories that are happening, right, on a recurring basis. And the fifth one, I honestly cannot remember what the fifth one was. But the point of this story is the process of solving the problem, right? That was the point, all right? The process of solving the problem, and that you can use this for any type of complex problem that you have. And so the way that this is done, this is called a consultative method, but you go and you talk to experts in the space. So if you sit on top of a community, all of the solutions to all of the problems that you have already exist in that community. Someone has solved it. And so all you have to do is get all the smartest people in one room and then interview them, tabulate the answers, use a weighing system of which of these answers comes up most frequently, and then consolidate to what are the fewest number of these things that everyone is doing to solve this complex problem. And a lot of times, when you use that type of process and that type of thinking, you will be able to solve the more complicated issues that come up in business. And a lot of times, the payouts can be rich and very rewarding. All right? Oh, remember the fifth thing. Every 2 weeks, they were able to contact them on a personal basis, independent of the service-based stuff.
Again, showing you care. Is all this has been showing you care, building community, and building trust. 3 things. And by building trust, like at the end of the day, it just boils down to building trust. If you build trust, you are doing all the other 2 things, which then means you're going to get more sales. Because people trust you, people want to work with you, people know that your stuff works. And you're not just, like, say for a personal trainer, you're not just, oh, let me give you this generic plan from chat, let me check in on you every week. But like, you're taking the time to give them a specialized plan that works with them. So that way, again, they know that you care and they trust you more.
So it's just checking in on them as humans every other week or so. So it's like, hey, imagine your phone buzzes with a text every 14 days or every 21 days or so. And it says, hey, just checking in, how's life, how's things, how you doing? Just making sure.
Not being a robot and so concerned about, give me the money, let me work with you. I just want your money from coming in the gym, or for any business. Like for me, it's not me go to a PT and just be like, great, give me money, I need it, I'll help you on this end. But like actually partnering with them, coming in, helping them grow, helping them become better. So that way both of you can grow. because then you're getting more business on the gym side, or for pre-key, you're getting a client for longer. And then you're also getting better referrals, the money from them, and a great member to join your community. So it's that like partnership instead of just service, which is the important way to do it. Of you're not just serving them, and they're not just serving you by giving you money, but you're partnering with them in this.
Everything's great, and just want to help you, accomplish your goals, whatever, right? And so you get that text from your service provider. You're like, wow, it almost appears as though they care. Isn't that wild? Of course it is. And that is why people pay you to pay attention. That is what they are literally paying for. All right? People want your attention. And so do not automate what you should systematize. It's one of the sayings I have when it comes to service. As soon as someone...
There we go. That's really good. And he finally said it. If he didn't set it the whole video of showing that you actually care, I was probably gonna just be like, whole video is bad. Not really. But I was expecting that way earlier on, because that's what all of those steps were, is showing you care. Building trust.
Finds out that communications are automated, they stop paying attention because you stop paying attention to the communication. That's a little nugget, little tidbit for you as well, is that do not automate what you should systematize. Okay? You can have a system around something, just do not automate it, because as soon as human touch is gone, people stop caring about it altogether, and it actually withdraws goodwill from the goodwill bank account of your customers rather than depositing it.
Again, you need trust, goodwill, and trust. They're like one and the same, basically, and you need them to continue to have customers, but gain customers, keep.
It's better to say nothing at all than to automate things for the most part. Many times I have found when it comes to customer success and getting people to believe that you give a shit, which is kind of the point of most services. Okay? So the best way, as a total side note, of getting people to think you give a shit is to actually give a shit. So with that, I will leave you, Mosey Nation.
I agree. He's so right, of giving, actually caring, wanting to build trust and community. Building trust, basically, is sums us up. Because if you care, you're building trust. You're building community, you're building trust. Build more trust, have more proof that your stuff works, so people will trust you more. But I think that's really good for every gym owner to watch, to know, to follow. But yeah, this 12-minute video could have been 2 minutes of just give a crap. Literally, he could have taken a 2-minute video where like all it was him. Your shot is on a chair. He sits down. He says, you want to make it big in any service business, just give a crap. And then walk off. That's what that video could have been. A phenomenal short, basically. Instead, they made it into a 12-minute long video, which I get. And at the time, people watch YouTube, had attention spans. So that's what it is just to build trust. As it all comes back to that, and that's why I do what I do, is to help you build trust.